What's going on, everyone? Just trying out this live video. We'll see if anyone jumps on while I'm doing it. If not, it will be uploaded once I'm finished. I've been back home for a couple of days now after heading to the US for Star Wars Celebration. Had an absolute blast. Did get sick towards the end. Only one Kenobi, what's up, man? So yeah, been back for a couple of days. Just sort of settling in, sort of getting over this sort of cold that I caught over in America. Did spend like 7 out of 10 days in crowds of tens of thousands of people, so I was bound to get sick at some point. But finally, I sort of got the barge set up. It's on a little not so permanent table at the moment. I'm gonna have to hunt down a proper table to display this thing, specifically for when the skiffs come out, so I can set them up in front and perhaps get a barge, get a sarlacc pit. So I just wanted to do a bit of an overview and have a look at this thing, because it's incredible. I did buy this before I went over to the US. I was one of the very lucky people to get one through their eBay offerings. And it was waiting for me when I got home. And to have it in person, it's so much bigger than I was expecting. It's insane. So I thought we'd just have a look over it, because it's incredible. It really is. And I hope I do it some justice. I've sort of got a lot of figures sort of set up on it at the moment. I haven't put them all in, and some of them will get sort of spread onto the skiffs when they come out. Mostly just show you the front side, because these are the panels that come off. But I will take them off as I go, and I hope the lighting is fine. Just to get under those sails, it does get a little bit dark under there. I have seen some people sort of retrofit this with their own little LED lights. That looks incredible as well. But there's just some very awesome details on this thing. So like things like the crack on the wing there. There's little bits of the railing that will slide out. There's a little piece there that does slide out. Just things like a little broken lip one there. And even underneath, they've, I know you're not going to be able to see it, but they did weather up the underneath as well. And I do particularly love these plastic legs to help it prop off the ground. So at the moment, I've just got a few figures set up the top. Gamorrean Guard, Nikto with the gun. There's a Weequay back there. Boba Fett. A couple other guys. We've got Luke. It's the lightsaber construction Luke with the Force Link Luke head. Some more guys up the top here. It's pretty impressive. There's all these little doors, and there's little doors here, and a little hatch that slides forward. There's a couple of these little hatches, and they all lead into the inside. There's a trap door there which I haven't set up. There's a button just on the front to release that. So it's definitely a play set as well as a sort of an epic display vehicle. This big gun. The little stand there has some pegs on it, so you can stand your figures on there, Luke and Leia. Ready to point it at the deck. It's just a really, really awesome thing. So I'm going to start taking these panels off. Just before I get into that, even the inside of the panels, they've weathered them up a little bit as well. There are some that are a little bit trickier to get off than others. but practice does make perfect. Bear with me for just a moment. I'll try and get this front panel off. There we go. We obviously have the cockpit. There's so many awesome details in this thing. Little prison cell behind this first bit here. I've got a couple of guys keeping guard. There's Lando for the time being. We'll pop off this next section. As you can see on the inside, they've put a lot of detail into that too, as well as opening windows on some of these. They sort of flip open shutters. And go into the jail cell. There's a dead hammerhead in there, which is awesome. So we've got the kitchen set up there. And like I said, I just sort of spotted a few skiff guards and stuff throughout the thing, just to populate it for the meantime. There's another Gamorrean guard. This is my sort of Keldor little traveller guy that I set up, a little custom. It's nothing special, but he's cool and he sort of fits in with all the aliens. This is like behind this guy, behind Khetanna, there is like a spot for weapons. Some stairs that head up to that hatch up there. You just kind of see up there. Again, more of these sort of opening windows on the outside of this panel. This is the biggest panel there is. And there's also a trap door underneath. You could stash some stuff in there. I'm just going to take him out. Extra weapons or whatever you want. It sort of clips in there nicely. Again, just looking at the kitchen, there's a sink and a little range hood on a grill. So there's little frog guys hanging up in the back. In the back of this room, there's some axes and stuff hanging on the back wall. I'll just pop off this panel here. Again, got an Ishi tib head in there. I think that's an Ishi tib head. No, it's not quite. It's one of the beak ones. Oh yeah, it is an Ishi tib, I think. All right, and here we have the vile gangster himself. This is a really good Jabba, actually. I do have the one from 2010 or 11. That was, I think it was a Kmart exclusive or a Walmart exclusive in the US at the time. But this one's definitely a nice upgrade. It looks great. Solid plastic. Good articulation. Reasonable articulation in the shoulders, arms, wrists, because the previous Jabba didn't have any wrist articulation, so this is a good one. And it looks pretty gruesome. So again, just some more guys set up in here. There's a bronze Gamorrean guard head there. And Jabba likes to have a picture of himself on the wall. There is another head back there, which is sort of not the best spot for it because it's right in front of that post, but it's okay. A yak face, a squid head. Blanking on his name at the moment. I've got a Weequay, Pody Snitkin. He's one of the skiff drivers there in the middle. We've got a little bronze Rancor on the wall. Just little details like that are cool. I've got my Bar 2 D2 here. I just like that there's little spots here on these posts for, you can take a few of those cups off and put them on there if you want. some great detail. I'm gonna lay her sort of sitting there on him before she chokes him out. And some open windows on the back side there, but those panels aren't removable. Not without undoing the screws, of course. There wasn't really a lot to put together on this thing. It was kind of all one piece. There were a couple of things like these little bits here. There's one on each side. On the underneath, these little things that are sticking down here. You had to plug them in. Had to assemble the sails. That felt like it was going to be trickier than it actually was. So that worked out well. Even those little ornate speakers up there, which look great. There's a lot to love with this thing, and definitely like to thank Hasbro for the opportunity. It was a little bit disheartening when it was announced that it was only going to be US and Canada, or Canada was announced later. But to have the opportunity to grab one later is greatly appreciated. And it wasn't cheap, but you know, this is probably, yeah, I want to say once in a lifetime chance to get something like this. Depending on what Haslab decide to do for the future. Yeah, I had to grab it. You know, as a long-time 3 3/4 inch action figure collector, this is basically a dream come true, holy grail sort of stuff in terms of collecting the 3 3/4 inch figures. I do have the big Millennium Falcon from 2007. But this dwarfs that in comparison as well. The AT-AT from 2010 or 11. I remember getting that for a steal at Toys R Us back in the day. And yeah, again, this dwarfs it in comparison. It's a play set, it's a vehicle, it's, you know, a beautiful diorama piece. They've really haven't spared an expense at all in, you know, just the detail and the paintwork throughout. You know, you see bits of other vehicles that, you know, they tend to just mold the plastic, slap it together and put it out. But this time they've put work in. Even this sort of, you wouldn't see this stuff when it's closed, but when it's open, they've weathered that up. Just sort of the details here as well. The sort of engine work underneath. And like I pointed out, just the picture of, that's a sculpted piece. It's not a sticker. It's a sculpted piece that's molded into it, and that's, it's kind of hard to see as well because my lighting's not great, but you can sort of see some pipe work in the back there and the bottom. All those pipes are sort of individually painted as well. You can sort of just see them there in the back. And then just like little goblin heads engraved into the wall there, much like the ones in the front of Jabba's throne. It's just so much detail. It's so good. It just makes me want to watch Return of the Jedi again every time I sit and play with this thing for a little bit. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a bit of a project when I can get a big table to set this thing up on with the skiffs. And yeah, try and have some really cool scenes set up. All right, I think that just about runs this one dry. It's been fun. I don't do live videos, but I thought I'd give it a go today, just because I'm just having a nice quiet morning to myself, Saturday morning, and yeah, I just wanted an excuse to look at this thing again. But looking forward to digging deeper into my experience with Celebration and my trip over to the States. buddy Lockie's coming around a little bit later today, and we're going to record episode 20 of Star Wars Go Figure, and sort of break down Celebration and all the trailers and announcements and all of that. So we're looking forward to sitting back and having a chat for a couple of hours. My wife might be jumping in if she chooses to. If she gets home while we're recording, she might jump in and have a bit of a chat with us as well. We'll see. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. And we'll speak to you very, very soon. May the Force be with you.